Today we'll be installing the Flatline EKKO Sprinter EKKO Side Steps. It's a simple installation, but it might help to have an extra hand to hold things in place. The whole process should take around 1 hour. Begin by unpacking all of the contents of the boxes and laying them out so that you have easy access to all the items needed for the installation, and print out the installation guide if you need it. We'll start by removing the stock steps. You can undo all 4 stock bolts on the underside of the steps using a 9/16 wrench or socket. Next, remove the front bracket starting with the 2 screws on the pinch seam using a 3/8 socket and 7/16 wrench. Then you can remove the upper bolts using a 1/2-inch socket or wrench. Note that the top bolts are held tight with folding anchors, so when you're undoing these, you need to put pressure on the bracket in the direction that you're unscrewing it. This will keep the anchor from spinning freely. After taking the bracket off, you will need to fish the anchors out of the cavity. Now you can remove the rear bracket by drilling out the 1/4-inch rivets that connect it to the understructure of the van. Then undo the 2 screws on the pinch seam, just the same as the front bracket. Repeat these steps for the driver's side steps. After removing the brackets from both sides of the van, paint the leftover holes on the van in order to prevent rust. With the original steps and brackets removed, it's time to move on to the Flatline EKKO brackets. We'll start with the passenger side first. Align the rear bracket on the substructure of the van near the rear door. Once you have the bracket lined up against the pinch weld and resting centered on the area shown here, you can drill 4 self-tapping screws into the understructure of the van as shown. There'll be 2 screws for each side of the bracket, and you can clamp the brackets in place to help hold them in position throughout the process. This includes clamps to push the brackets up against the ground to hold them as high on the pinch weld as possible for drilling through those holes next. Drill the self-tapping screws through the holes on pinch seam using a 9mm driver. Once the rear bracket is installed, measure the distance between the center of the slotted holes on both the rear and front bracket in order to place the front bracket in the correct location for mounting. The distance between both slotted holes should be as close to 22¼ inches as possible. With that measurement noted, drill the self-tapping screws through the 5 mounting points on the back of the bracket and through the pinch weld mounting points. If any of the mounting holes on the brackets line up with holes in the pinch weld left from the factory hardware, then reuse the factory hardware for those mounting points as shown. This will mean using a bolt and nut rather than a self-tapping screw. Now it's time to move to the driver's side. All of these steps from the passenger side will be repeated, with an additional step for the front bracket. The additional step needed for the driver's side front bracket includes installing a riv nut, as shown here. You'll find this mounting hole on the van for the riv nut by measuring the 22¼ inch distance from the slotted holes on the rear driver's side bracket and placing the front bracket to line it up the same way as the passenger side. Now you can install the included riv nut. With the riv nut in place, you can hold up the front bracket and screw in the included 3/8 screw and washer using a 9/16 socket to tighten. From there, you'll mount both the front and rear driver's side brackets using the included self-tapping screws, making sure to measure for that 22¼ inch distance between the slotted holes on the brackets. Don't forget to install the included plugs for the factory holes as shown here. This will prevent dirt and water from getting in the understructure of the van. Now you can hold the step in place against the brackets and fasten together using the included 3/8 hardware. Take bolts for the steps and put the included Loctite on them. Then you'll push the bolts through the slotted hole on the steps and through the brackets on the van. Make sure to have the washers on the bolts before pushing them through the steps as well. Now you can tighten the nuts on the bolt from the inside of the brackets. Tighten all the hardware until the step is held in place but can still be moved. Take a step back to make sure the steps are level with the van, and then you can tighten hardware when they are. Using the clamps again here to help hold the steps in place will help to keep them level as you tighten the bolts. And that's it. You now have some nice and sturdy steps on your van to help with getting in and out in any condition. If you have any questions regarding this process, reach out to our support team, and we'll see you next video.